Let's now shift focus over to the United States. 4 GOP candidates: Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie faced off on Wednesday night in Alabama in the 4th Republican presidential debate. Indian-American Vivek Ramaswamy sought to halt Nikki Haley's gaining momentum amid the smallest debate field yet. Ramaswamy resorted to personal attacks. He also accused Ms. Haley of having a corruption problem. The entrepreneur also accused the former UN ambassador of using identity politics as a form of intellectual fraud. In fact, at several points, DeSantis and Ramaswamy both teamed up to pile on criticism, zeroing in on the support Nikki Haley has received of late from some of her donors. Interestingly, Haley appeared unruffled and hit back hard, calling the other candidates jealous of the support she's been gaining. And with that, let me also bring in my guest today. I'm joined in by Dustin Olson, who is a pollster at the American Pulse Research and Polling. He's also a political strategist. Many thanks to you, Dustin, for joining in. Now, it's a much diminished field as far as this 4th Republican debate was concerned. What were the key takeaways of this debate in your view?
Well, first, Republicans have been telling us in our polling for months that they wanted to see fewer people on the stage. They don't like all these people jumping on top of each other during the debates. And this was much more manageable. Actually, I would say that Chris Christie actually hadn't really met the polling threshold. I don't know why he actually was given the spot on the stage. Actually should have been fewer people. And I would expect that Vivek Ramaswamy isn't going to be on the next one whenever it happens, if it happens. But I would say the big winner really was News Nation. A lot of people in the United States didn't know how to even find it on their TV, yet this was a reason for people to show up, and they did so. I would say that I would actually say for Republican primary voters that DeSantis was the winner for the debate last night. Now, I think that really Nikki Haley came into it strong. Right. But ultimately, DeSantis had his best performance, largely based on having his debate with Gavin Newsom a week ago, where they went head to head, and I think it kind of put him into fighting weight for last night's debate. And he really said things that connected with the voters. And I think Nikki Haley, unfortunately, while she did well, I think the hits on the liberal billionaire donors, as well as being a warmonger, is how some people are taking the results of last night.
All right, Dustin, polling shows that Donald Trump is far ahead of any of the candidates on stage despite skipping each debate. His Political Action Committee has called this entire event a race for the second place. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I think that's right. Right now we have in our polling, actually, I'll tell you what our most recent national survey had of Republican primary voters. 61% said that we're going to vote for Donald Trump. And there's been nothing that's going to change that since we did this a few weeks ago. And then we have DeSantis at 12%, and we have Nikki Haley at 9.8%. So it's not even second place. It's like a distant second. Now, that being said, we had almost 70% say that they believe that Donald Trump is actually the nominee. And this has been interesting that, there's been some hand-wringing about the primaries and how things have happened. But ultimately, the Republican Party, as well as, Donald Trump is the front runner. He's been, he's welcomed everybody to the race. Whenever someone jumps in, he welcomes them to the race. That's been kind of a consistent thing. And it's actually had this effect of Republicans having the sense of having a free choice, that they are getting to work it out, and decide freely. Whereas on the Democrat side, back in the summer, we were doing surveys and we found that, Democrats were very solidly behind Joe Biden, and that has changed. We now have, it's actually 35.9% say they definitely want Biden. These are Democrat primary voters, and 35.2% say somebody else. And Joe Biden only gets into the mid-30s when you do a hypothetical with people like Gavin Newsom and others.
Certainly quite some interesting data over there. Thank you so much, Dustin Olson, for sharing those facts and figures with us here on World 360.